For those of you who may have asked, how can I play a vital part in helping your ministry? Please consider clicking on the links in the description. By doing so, as a team effort, we will be able to continue to share these inspirational devotionals each morning. Thanking you in advance for your support, and God bless. Hello and welcome to Inspirations with Dr. PJ. It's landing time. There was a story of an attorney. He was headed to the airport, he and one of his other friends, getting ready to fly back home. But near the airport, they saw the pastor. The pastor approached them and said, I could save you some money. I have my little small plane here. I'm getting ready to fly back home. We're going to the same place. So you can keep your ticket for another flight. The attorney was a little hesitant at first and said, no, we're good. But then he and that guy, his other attorney friend, they finally agreed to fly home with the pastor. So the attorney and the pastor, they get on the plane, they're in the front, and this other attorney is in the back seat. And they take off, and I guess the attorney was waiting for the pastor to say something about prayer. He never did, so that attorney say, we need to pray. They prayed, and that attorney said he prayed one of the longest prayer ever, asking God for traveling grace and mercy. He said he didn't know why he felt so uneasy. This attorney said, but I prayed, I put down one prayer to God. They prayed, and as they began down the runway, he said it was a smooth ride, not a problem in the world. It was a good flight, so they're just selling. He said, but about 3 to 4 minutes in the air, he said something happened. He said the pilot turned to him and said, it wasn't supposed to be cloudy today, but we're flying into clouds. He said, and I can't see in the clouds. That's why I had that particular time, because they said it was not going to be any clouds. He said, clouds make me pass out. And I turned to say what? They make you pass out? He said, but it's been cloudy all day. And they went into the clouds, and before they could lower the plane, no one could see anything. He said when he looked at the pastor, he saw the pastor's eyes roll back in his head. And that pastor began to mumble something. And then he passed out cold. He said he grabbed him and shook him, saying, Pastor, you need to wake up so I can kill you. They're flying in the clouds with no pilot. So that other attorney said, we're going to die. I just know we're going to die, aren't we? And he said, I don't know, but here's this radio. You get on this radio. You start asking for help. So that other guy, he got the radio. And they just start hollering, both of them just hollering, saying anything. Because neither one of them knew any proper radio etiquette. So someone finally answered and said to them, don't you guys know any proper etiquette about this radio? The attorney said, no, man, we don't know a thing. We're in this airplane, and the pilot has passed out, and we have no clue how to fly this plane. The man said, I'm in the air as well. I'm nearby. And you telling me there's no one that can fly that plane? He said, yes, absolutely. That's exactly right. That's what I'm telling you. He said, by this time, they're both just sweating bullets. And the man told them, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle back around so I don't lose you. He said, because if I get out of range, we won't have radio and you won't have me anymore. He told them, but I'm going to get you some help. And they're the ones who would be able to help you. I'm going to stay here with you on this line until I get you guys connected. But they are the ones that can save your life. So after about 5 minutes, that emergency controller came to the radio and said, we understand you have a passed out pilot and you don't know how to fly the plane. And he said, that would be correct. He told them that the first thing I have to do is find you. I have to find you where you are because my job is to get you home safe. But he said, here is the deal. That's what the controller is telling him. If you want me to get you home safe, you have to promise me one thing. You have to promise that you will obey my voice. Whatever my voice says to do, you will do it. He said, you can't see me, but I can see you. And if you're not going to obey my voice, you are going to die. You know, when you can't see anything, you become disoriented. You really do. You become confused. So finally he said, okay, I found you. So listen clearly. He said, you're 4 minutes from a mountain. And if you don't listen to my voice and do exactly what I tell you to do, you will crash into that mountain and you will die. Follow my voice. He said, I didn't argue. I didn't try to figure it out because he already knew if he didn't follow the voice, it was over for them. At that moment, he understood he had nothing. And that's what God tells us. Without his voice, without him, we have nothing. The man told him, I'm freezing all of the other traffic in the area. I'm getting everybody out of your way. And there's rough weather ahead of you. And you for a rough ride. He said, I'm just telling you, you're in for a rough ride because you're running into very turbulent weather. He said, but listen, whatever you do, don't focus on anything else around you, anything outside, and especially the storm. If you start watching that storm, you will die. But I will guide you through it. Just trust the voice. You know, our heads are full of voices all the time. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to be the controlling voice. Everyone has suggestions or advice. But God says, I want my voice to be your voice. My voice is what you need in your head. That's what he's telling all of us. Finally, he went through the worst of the weather. And the voice said, now I have to line you up to land. And at the foot of the runway, there are going to be lights. And the light's going to be in the form of a cross. How awesome is that? He said, don't forget this. The cross is the way home. Look for that cross. Stay with me and follow the voice. You'll be okay. So the attorney said, okay, I see the cross. And he followed the instructions and he landed the plane. And soon it stopped. Then guess what happened? The pilot woke up. The pastor woke up after all of that. And the voice says, thanks for listening. The controller was telling the attorney, thanks for listening. He said, because I've watched them crash and burn all the time because they won't listen to my voice. They understand just because they can't see, I can see them. They just, later on that night, they went to the hotel to rest. They were sleeping about 4 a.m. He said he heard a knock on the door. And he said, "Hello, David." And he said, immediately, the attorney said, immediately, I recognized the voice of the man who saved our lives. It was the controller. After I heard that story, one day, every one of us, under the sound of my voice, will stand before Christ. And you will say, you were that voice. You were the voice that brought me home. You're the voice that saved. Or will you be able to say, you were the voice that tried to get me to. Are you the voice that tried to encourage me? We're going to be landing. And our landing depends totally on the Lord. So, dear Lord, my pilot, my controller, my voice, my peace in the middle of a storm, I put my complete trust in your plans for my life. Pull me closer to you each day so that I will become more familiar with your voice and fully understand your plan for my life. Help all of us to realize more and more that temptations sometimes are hard to turn away from. Sometimes we want to look at the storms. Sometimes we want to look at the things that are around us, even wanting to give up. But it's times like these when we need your strength and your courage to overcome and to make sure that we're listening to your voice, which is encouraging us to hold on just a little bit longer. Continue, Lord, continue, please continue to lead and guide us, because that's the only way we would make it. And we do have the assurance that when we trust you, when we listen to your voice, that you will look over us, that you will protect us, you will bless us. Thank you for being our GPS system, our guide, our pilot, our protection, because we are not afraid anymore to travel or to fly with you, because we know that you are our pilot and that you have everything under your control. We thank you because we're landing. Our landing is sooner than we can ever imagine. But we thank God. We don't have to fear. All we have to do is like that attorney did. The controller told him just to look for that cross. The cross is the way. God, all we have to do is look at that cross and we will be saved. Thank you for being our pilot. Most of all, thank you for covering us. We thank you. We appreciate you so much. Continue to bless us and strengthen us as we endeavor to allow you to be the pilot of our lives. Amen and amen.